We now return to the Ace Attorney Chronicles. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom? Ha! A judicial assistant, and a woman no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will allow not a moment more. But Your Excellency, I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. Is it a report about something? Written in English. It's Giselle Brett's research. The Englishwoman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh, yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I don't speak the language, you see. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of curare and its effects on human subjects? Curare, what's that? Never heard that word before. Apparently neither have I, because I don't know how to pronounce it. Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Giselle's report has been entered into the court record. A report detailing an unknown poison that Miss Brett has been researching during her time at UMay University. Goodbye then, and good luck. She was a ghost all along. You've had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. Let me do a little bit of examination first there. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Effects: instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry: the above-mentioned effect occurs when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart or a steak knife. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, the solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of a full-body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question, however, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, What is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? I wanted to present that.
Yes!
Miss Giselle Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. Nani? Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What complete and utter nonsense. Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before, for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. Nani? Order! Order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. And it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery! To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would surely have noticed. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison. And you're suggesting this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts. You think you're so clever, but you must... It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady! So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Ms. Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. Oh, what's so funny? Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Oh, she's gonna take the easy way out. She's gonna spill it out. Oh my God! Stop it! No. Well, yes, I don't see why not. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. It says a woman from England? Sorry? To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers! Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Is the whole game just this one trial? Because in Phoenix Wright, you had like 4 or 5 different trials. Goodness, whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no curare. The bottle was clean. What you're saying? Oh, you look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. What did she pour it into, though? The turn thing was suspicious. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady, we are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. Doesn't make any sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. I mean, diluted after 3 days? I don't know. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle, hasn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. The bottle of water. I mean, I'm still on the belief that it was the knife. Because, would you notice the blood? There was sauce on that steak plate. But the game didn't let me have that, so... But wait a minute. he must have drank it and then filled it up again. That's why he's been coughing this whole time. That's the only unexplained thing yet in this whole thing. So we go for broke? I mean, technically though, if he emptied it out, it would contain no poison. Apparently we still have 4 chances at this, so sure, let's just say it does and see where it goes. Because, I mean, there's nothing else, right? There's nothing else. We can't examine this to... Okay, we don't need to go through this again. I thought maybe they'd talk about it again differently, but... one thing that caught me, though, when they were first talking about this, it lost its sparkle after 3 days. Why didn't it evaporate after 3 days? Okay, let's go for it. Although, I feel like this would be one of those things where it's like, it contains no poison, because it was already emptied. Whereas continuing to go down this route is just going to get me nailed? I don't know, it's giving me chances here, so, you know. We have all the clues now. We'll take it. Worst that can happen is it sends me back to do this part over again. The culprit did put curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. Fuck me. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool, are you blind? There is no possible way the bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How, exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this suddenly poisoned water unscathed? Okay, let's read this. Poison made from certain bark. Hunters of the region have used it since ancient times. Instant paralysis and subsequent death. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the body paralytic, it believed it has application as an anesthetic. However, the solution caused a full-body paralysis. They would die of suffocation. I think that might be our only saving grace. This only happens through a wound. So it was stabbed, and then the knife was put in. Well, I mean, this is the only thing I have to present, so...
Yes!
The music didn't stop. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone. Honest. I'm just reading Susato's-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle? Well, I guess it was under special characteristics? I'm gonna have to look at that again. Synopsis. Special characteristics. Special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison, and it's left me curious about something. Oh, Counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum. In this research paper here, under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. Nani? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew curare's special characteristics, and you knew that you would make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... I like that. I like that touch. Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it So, the ill-bred little pup has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? Okay. What are they? So if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? Order! Order in the court! Order! The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest... Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
He did the thing. I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested, why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare? Well, do I want to bring this up again? I honestly think that the note is the knife is the only. Or do I bring this up to say, the wound in his chest? I'm still suspicious that a point-blank shot would not go through a body. I mean, it's not a musket ball. So what do I show? That he's got a wound. I guess?
Take that!
Nope. I'm sorry, Counsel, but the slipshod manner in which you tossed that evidence before the court, please let me do it again, does not inspire confidence. Ah? Listen, Ryunosuke, there's no need to overthink this. We know that Kirare's toxic effects only come into play when the poison enters the body via a wound. Right, so that can only mean that when Dr. Wilson drank his glass of water, he must have had a wound somewhere that let the poison in. Exactly. He absorbed it through the burn? So we need some evidence that would prove the professor had a wound inside his mouth. Dentists, of course! Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence again. This is his medical report card, yeah.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners, of course, so he did drink it, but it entered the wound in his mouth. A fatal difference? The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound, so for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But, Scush, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Yeah. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! What is it? What just happened? Is the Englishwoman? She just smashed the bottle! And in the Supreme Court! What a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once! You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. Probably stolen from India. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. You couldn't possibly wring it out for the few drops of water you'd probably get. No! Oh, could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not? You. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right? Counsel for the prosecution. Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady. That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. Nani? So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy. Why would he have... So, if he was sitting with the back and you were eating the steak, can I pull on that testimony there for a moment?
Objection!
Yes, please. No, you killed the victim that day, using curare, and then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. I still want to point out that this is just so much easier. Did he hear the gunshot after he picked up the gun, though? Is that the testimony? I already forget that part. I want to see a chronology of events in the court record. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. But that doesn't make sense there, Kazuma. He's sitting at the placing. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you must have, young man. A hidden gun, you say, and I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now... Is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Frankly, I'm surprised it didn't happen with the glass she had. Ryunosuke. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish this. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt, every color. An uneaten snake. Oh no, not snake, steak. Blood. Blood on the board. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson? I figured this out in like the first goddamn episode. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Ah, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all of this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... I would say this? Can I guess I don't have the ability to pull something out on that. Well, can I point out the blood? I mean, the knife? Well, let's show this, I guess. But he's hiding the knife. If I click on his shoulder, is that going to be... There's a knife there. Now let's present this.
Take that!
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day?
Objection!
Wait a minute. Where are you going with... Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw... You know what? It just hit me for the very first time. This is his head slouched over, and not a beard. And I saw that on the wooden base... I don't miss a thing. My powers of observation are amazing. On the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Giselle Brett. I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous, fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate in the interests of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all, in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. It hasn't been washed for 3 days. We must examine it now. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But, no, that's... impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. Is this flipped? Is it over here and he flipped the thing? I mean, the most obvious answer is it was washed, but, you know, this is convoluted anime drama going on here. I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. It's upside down. It's flipped. He flipped the board. It's stained on the bottom. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. Ooh. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch, but I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. The plate of steak has been entered into the court record. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself. In the heart of the cards? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way... Can I look at it right now? Hold up, hold up. What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. And the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe. No, I mean, what is it? I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. So we swap the plates. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in bullion. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... Nope, it's not one of those. Not one of those at all. Once again, the game has managed to completely surprise me in what we're actually going for here. This emblem is on the side of the plate. Is that a cat? It's a cow, obviously. Most likely because the restaurant's signature dish is beefsteak. It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is the symbol of La Carnival, is it? That was it. I hope I didn't just pass over the dialogue opportunity to use this. I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain is going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? There's another clue. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel, for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is this new clue to be found? Here. We just no, I know we just found it. Come on. Come on. Come on. If this was like one of those, what's that program? Renpai. If this was a Renpai game, you'd be able to skip dialogue you've already gone through. certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. Neither did I. And it's from the Hoei era, too. It would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well, look. Are you thinking of eating it? No, but the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke. Koban coin underneath this steak. There's only one logical explanation.
Got it!
Good gracious, that's... Koban? On Earth? A Hoei-era one at that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency! Yes, Counsel. A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beef steak is... him. But we haven't gone over the others yet. Susato Mikotoba, 16, Judicial Assistant of Defense Lawyer Kazuma Hosogi, and Giselle Brett, 24, British exchange student who is studying under the victim at Yume University's medical school. Did I do the other guys too? Nosa, 38, Army Sergeant of the Empire of Japan, who witnessed the incident, allegedly, and Curio, I like nice pun there. Korakuta, the owner of Raste, who was hunting for a lost Hoei-era gold Koban coin at the time of the incident.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Raste, Curio Korakuta-san. Curie, as in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened, at exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoei-era Koban, my prized coin. Then this Hoei-era Koban, do you mean to tell me?
Objection!
No, please. Why would Korakuta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korakuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe we've come back round to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch. that if we chase down the real significance of this koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. No, oh, okay. They put all 4 in there. I thought it was going to give me a break for a moment. What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Well, sir, I'm afraid that will have to wait for next time. I'll see you then.